Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Huh. Okay. So I just read the script for 2026 NFL season, and in no real surprise, it's rigged. Oh, I would have been saying that if 2025 didn't kind of at the last minute put a twist into it. Hey everybody, I'm Cortez and I'm a critic, and welcome back. We're continuing our 2025 NFL Draft recap as we're just about halfway through the NFC West. And today we'll be talking about the team that probably had the biggest Hollywood, perfectly designed script that for somehow went through an M. Night Shyamalan twist at the very end. As we'll be talking about the Los Angeles Rams, a team that felt probably the most secure team. Like, you can put money down that I didn't have, and some of you probably lost, that this was the team that was going to make it to the Super Bowl. But like an M. Night Shyamalan, what a twist! It was Seattle, a team that really none of us even gave a winning season to. But the Rams, the script was written. Let's talk about them. Okay, so for the biggest complaint I had about the Rams going into the new year was Matthew Stafford's health. Matthew Stafford is reaching that age of, sometime you want to think about your future beyond football. You already won a ring. You're already a Hall of Famer. You're one of the few quarterbacks that prove their draft spot, their college football legacy, and even their whole football career from Pop Warner to now legacy as one of the prime example of sometimes a first round pick quarterback is a first round pick quarterback, and rightfully so. And when he went to the Rams, especially with that trade with Jared Goff from the Rams to Detroit and vice versa, funny enough, both teams seem to feel pretty satisfied, I'll say, moving forward. Lions probably thinking, maybe we'll want a little bit more, but that's Detroit for another day. But for the Rams, it really felt very much that after Aaron Donald left, it was thought that Matthew Stafford was the next one to go. But he decided to stay, and as far as the time of this recording, of course, he's going to stay. I don't think he'll go anywhere else. I don't care. I don't think it's about the money anymore. I think Matthew Stafford's one of those players that basically says, I think we all can agree he is set in Ohio. He's set in Canton. He's going to be there. He's going to get his gold jacket. So the question just comes down to, can he still do it? And will the team, the Rams, accept them? And I think all answers point to yes. So to me, the Rams' future is dictated on Matthew Stafford. And since last year he had a phenomenal one MVP by one vote, he rightfully makes the choice to stay, or he will be staying. As time is recording, no real drastic changes. And with Aaron Donald's departure years ago, the rookies they have got to step up defensively, I think, has kept the Rams just up there with contention, even with the rise of the 49ers and now recently the Seattle Seahawks. So the Rams, once again, are in a tough division, but I feel like they are a team that can handle the tough division. So for that, I had them at high 12-5. I thought they were the favorite team. The Niners concerned me a little bit, and Seattle was nowhere near my board. But if somehow there was a struggle, like maybe Seattle looked more formidable, the Cardinals can steal a win here and there, a couple of stub toe games, then of course 9-8 was the thought for the Rams. I still felt like 9-8 was one of those things where I was thinking of the worst case scenario 9-8. Like they had 9 wins and they had 4 more games and somehow they just couldn't get done. Whatever. But he went 12-5, so for the second time on this channel, I had a right prediction as the high and low of the team I picked. No, I'm not gonna put confetti. It costs a lot of money for confetti. Someone's gonna be like, yeah. So 12-5. you were formidable the whole way through. Seattle was probably the biggest, like, who the hell is this guy kind of moment. So I can understand the Rams feeling. And every game of Seattle and the Rams, including the playoff game, was, what we expect as two top tier teams to go. The punching, the dodging, the good play, the bad play, the drama, the excitement, everything we want in football is what we got. And in all three games, I think we kind of got that. So I think we all can be very proud of our level of competition game that we saw. So, but sadly, it fell short, and I can't help but I felt like it was one of those things that maybe destiny was written in the star for Seattle, not for you. But boy, I said this before, if the Rams would have went to the Super Bowl, they would have won. The Super Bowl was going to be either Seattle or the Rams, regardless if Denver or New England went in the AFC. I think we all can agree that was probably written in stone. So the best game for the Los Angeles Rams goes to Week 10 at San Francisco. Now, we all remember earlier in the year that the Rams, I think it was a Thursday night football game in Los Angeles, where it was a 4th and 1 or 4th and inches when they were already in field goal range in overtime, and they got stopped short. And that led to the Niners' victory. And basically it made people wonder, maybe the Rams were too aggressive, maybe the Rams didn't take the 49ers seriously. Remember, the Niners had a lot of injured players still very early in that year, so they weren't even playing at even 80% of their capacity when it comes to star players. But this was a game that felt like, okay, it's time for a payback game. And the Rams came back with a payback with a pure vengeance. I mean, talk about you come into our house, you have an overtime victory, congratulations by 3 points. The Rams says, now we're going to go to your house and we're going to destroy the whole thing, and we're going to put a 1-star review on Yelp and on Airbnb. That's what the Rams did. Sometimes division foes are like siblings. Sometimes you get a better, win in a game of Mario Kart, and the next you played punchies and you never stop punching. So that's what the Rams did. The Rams demolished the 49ers. I think it really, it was only week 10, but this felt very much like the older brother division saying, you're good, but you're not it's not you. It's not you. You're not that guy. You're not that guy. You're not this team. I'm sorry. And this game was formidable for the Rams. In a way, I think it kind of cemented by the halfway point of the season that the Rams should be considered one of the best teams in the NFC, if not the NFL. I know a lot of top 10 rankings had the Rams either 1 or 2, maybe even the lowest 3. That's because, they kept looking at the AFC side thinking that they can do something. But to me, this was clearly a Rams statement game to the division and to the conference that, yeah, the Rams are for real, and we're going to show you by demolishing as the road team against division foe, a Niner team that has had very strong success against the Rams over the past few years under Shanahan. So, rightfully so, the Rams get revenge. But your worst game, was a game that was more worse as in embarrassing as a fan of the Buccaneers, because we thought you were going to kick the crap out of the team you were going to play, even though the game was on the road. Week 13 at Carolina. And boy, was it like, guess what? We liked it so much, let's go for 2. As even the playoff matchup between the Rams and the Panthers was great. A game that I can't help but agree that I feel like Tampa would not have done it. As much as a Buccaneer fan I am, I don't think the Bucs would have even been as anywhere formidable to what the Panthers did against the Rams in both games, whether it's the playoff game or the regular season. This was the worst game because a lot of that time, Matthew Stafford was like the head, was like the head guy. He was the guy that was going to be the MVP. He was leading the pack of MVP. Drake May was behind, but Matthew Stafford was definitely the guy behind him. And in a game where the biggest thing they kept talking about Matthew Stafford was that his turnovers were very, very limited. And in the game that, 2 big factors this game that I feel like it was the worst game. One, Matthew Stafford threw, I think, 3 interceptions in that game. Let me double check my notes here. No, 2 interceptions in that game. And there was a lot of 4th down converting. The Panthers converted that not only did get 1st down, but got touchdowns. So, yeah, this was, and then of course, there was 2 interceptions, and Stafford did fumble on the last drive that they were probably going for the tie or even the win. So, technically, you can make the argument, yes, Stafford threw and one was also, and then a pick 6 here and there, yeah. So, it wasn't good. It wasn't good for the Rams, and It was a game that made Panther fans feel great and made Bucks fans feel crappy, but that's weeks already into that season. And the Rams, I cannot say the stub your toe game because the Panthers did make the playoffs and they did do a rematch. And in that playoff game, the game was a lot closer than some people thought, and even some were thinking, are the Panthers going to upset the Rams in the first round? Are we doing that? Are we doing that? Like, it was getting that kind of creepy, that kind of scary. So it was the worst game because it showed you worse. Matthew Stafford, who still won MVP, committed 3 turnovers in a game that felt very much like it should have been a Rams rout. Should have been a Rams rout, and Panthers probably would not have won the division. The Bucks would have won the division, and then the Rams probably would have kicked the Buccaneers' ass in the first round. Let's be real. At least we would have won the division. So that's the worst game because Stafford showed the worst. MVP. No real surprise, MVP for the Los Angeles Rams goes to Matthew Stafford. And when I was doing my research on it, Stafford had 4,700 yards, 46 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. I've always said if your touchdowns are over 25 and your interceptions are in the single digits, that's a good season. That's a good year. You should consider that. But 46-8 is so far out there that you just realize that 2 of those interceptions of his 8 took place in one game. So even when I do the mathematical equations of average, basically a quarter of his interception was in one game. Who happened to be his worst game? So not a bad average to have. But Matthew Stafford was not only the NFL MVP, but he was also the team MVP. And my fear is, I'm feeling the same thing I felt with Brady, felt with Brett Favre, when they had great years. And then they're the year after their great year, whether it's MVP year or just statistically great years for their age. Let's not be ages here. And then they fall off. They get beat up. Like elder abuse kind of beat up. Not saying they're going to happen to Stafford, but I'm just feeling that like any team that complains, it's hard to make up. I mean, one, you're MVP. So it's going to be hard to say, can you be MVP again? But numbers like this, at your age, no disrespect for ageism here, but that's impressive. That's impressive. So MVP goes to the Rams, Matthew Stafford. Grade for the Los Angeles Rams is an A. I think an A is the highest grade I can give it because, of course, grade system. But I think the Rams surpass expectations statistically as well as, performance-wise. I mean, 12 wins is still 12 wins. But those victories were very much like, wow, this is the Rams team. This is crap. The Rams might do it. Like, it had that fear of like, the Rams are going to win another Super Bowl. Great. Yeah. Kind of vibe. So, sorry fans feel like that, but that's how it felt. Like, this was a team that was going to do it. Yeah. Crap. But they didn't do it, and Seattle did it, so I guess we'll give Seattle the thank you card for that one. Now, when it comes to the draft, as some of you are aware, that the Rams made a big splash already when it comes to acquisition of talented players. They got the Kansas City Chiefs McDuffie. Remember, the Rams had 2 first-round picks. They had number 13, number 29. The 29 was theirs, but number 13 was Atlanta. Who Atlanta right now, the pick that they used to get that player, is currently facing 3 felony charges. Character, man. It's about character. So I'm sure the Falcons are having major WTF moments, which we'll talk about then when we talk about the Falcons. But thanks to that acquisition that behaviorally backfired the Falcons, the Rams are like, thank you, we'll take your number 13 pick. So the Rams have given their first round pick at McDuffie. So the Rams had number 13, their top 15. What do the Rams really need? This is a question I would ask a team that always go to the conference championship. What do they really need? And there is one player that I kind of feel that McVay will be like, he's mine. Now, I understand the offensive line needs work. But, there is a player that I can't help that feel that McVay will consider. So, with the 13th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams could select Kenyon
Sadiq.
tight end, Oregon. Tell me you don't see McVay doing that. Getting basically a wide receiver tight end physique. Athletic as all hell. And McVay's thinking, goody. Tell me you don't see that. That and the Chiefs are probably the two teams I fear the most that will get his talent. And they're both led by offensive coordinator geniuses head coaches. So tell me you don't feel terrified. But if the Rams decide to go protection, insurance claims, like a good neighbor, you're in good hands, we are farmers, progressive. Then I will say with the 13th pick, they will go with Caleb Lomu, offensive tackle, Utah. Protect offensive tackles, offensive line, mainly because our offensive lineman is reaching past the age of 35. So quite frankly, you want to make sure that's secure up there for the future, whether it's Stafford or not, which we all know Stafford won't be much longer. So you definitely want to prepare the future and make sure the offensive line is set for the next young gentleman quarterback you pick, whether it's the draft, free agency, or whatever. You want to prepare for the future. So therefore, get the insurance for the claim now. Or you go Francis Magioa, Francis, offensive tackle, Miami. I mispronounced a terrible name, but the pictures and name will prove my claim what I'm trying to say. Offensive tackle. I believe Francis is probably in the perfect spot there for being a top 10. I mean, there's thoughts that the Cardinals will get him. There's on the Tennessee, but they might go with a more talented defensive player, which I'm trying to say in a mock draft. So therefore, I could be on the right track on that one. But if the Rams want to go with insurance for the future, get a nice young offensive lineman to evaluate, plus still on a rookie deal, kind of want to look at that investment future there. So if they don't want to get the splashy tight end from Oregon, ducks, quack, 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 maybe getting insurance for your offensive tackle might be the way to go at number 13. Just saying. And I'm going to throw this out there. I would not be surprised if they trade down to, like, I don't know, the 20th and let someone else get up there in the top 15, because Dallas, Baltimore, Tampa could be looking at some of the players that players behind them want. Like the tight end. Just saying. Seriously. He's a wild card, but he's too valuable to let drop past 20, if you're asking me. So that is the Rams season. Like I said, it was scripted in the stars, everything went well, and then the twist came in and Seattle took over. So the team we'll be talking about to conclude the NFC West will be, of course, the Super Bowl champion, Seattle Seahawks. I'm sure Ram fans love to be talking about the Rams, knowing that they have to be the opening act for the defending Super Bowl champions. Fun. So we'll conclude the NFC West with Seattle. So until next time, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you so very much for watching.